Get ready for a wild ride today, folks, because we are diving headfirst into the world of ancient astronauts.
Yeah, we're tackling a big one today, a topic that's definitely captured a lot of imaginations over the years.
And the source material we're using to guide us through this, a Wikipedia article, Ancient Astronauts, straight up.
It's actually a really good article, surprisingly balanced. It lays out all those exciting claims, but then it also, gives you the other side, the scientific counterarguments.
Exactly. We're going full deep dive here. We're not shying away from the more, let's say, creative theories.
Right, we'll unpack those. But we're also going to dig into why those theories maybe don't hold up so well under, say, the scrutiny of actual scientific evidence.
So for anyone who's been living under a rock for, well, maybe the entirety of human civilization, can you give us a quick rundown? What's the basic idea behind ancient astronauts?
Basically, the idea is that way back when, we're talking way, way back, Earth got a visit, or maybe a few visits, from extraterrestrials. And these weren't just quick flybys. They were sticking around, influencing early humans, maybe even giving us a technological boost.
Right, so we're talking aliens building the pyramids, whispering secrets of agriculture in our ears, maybe even leaving behind a few blueprints for, like, spaceships or something.
Pretty much. And I've got to admit, some of the claims they make, while a little out there, can be pretty intriguing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like the Wikipedia article mentions the Dogon people of Mali and their knowledge of Sirius, a star system that's, like, really hard to see without a telescope.
Yeah.
Did those guys have some ancient Dogon Hubble we don't know about? I mean, what's the deal with that?
The Dogon and Sirius. That's a classic example that gets brought up a lot in these conversations, and it really highlights how important context is. So, Sirius, it's not just one star, it's actually a binary star system.
Okay, meaning... Sorry, just got to make sure everyone's following along here.
Meaning there are actually two stars orbiting each other. One of them, Sirius A, super bright. You can see it with the naked eye, no problem. But its buddy, Sirius B, that one's a white dwarf, a lot dimmer, way harder to spot.
Gotcha. So what, are you saying the Dogon had, like, supervision?
Not quite. See, the Dogon, they did have this knowledge of Sirius B way before telescopes came along and made it easy to spot. But here's where the context comes in. A lot of their knowledge can actually be traced back to interactions they had with anthropologists.
Hold on. Anthropologists, those guys who study humans and culture and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So these anthropologists, they were visiting the Dogon in the 1930s, and while they were armed with all the latest astronomical discoveries, including the whole Sirius B thing.
Okay, so you're telling me.
What I'm saying is, it's very likely that this knowledge, which seemed like evidence of some ancient, maybe even alien connection, was actually just a case of, well, cultural exchange, information passed from one group to another.
That's kind of a letdown, isn't it?
Maybe a little, but it's also a great reminder to be careful about jumping to conclusions. Sometimes the simplest explanation, well, it really is the best one.
True. So I guess it's like they always say, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right?
Exactly. And sometimes even what seems like pretty compelling evidence can have a totally normal, even kind of mundane explanation.
Makes you wonder how many other mysteries we could solve if we just, like, zoomed out a little, looked at the bigger picture.
Right. Like instead of jumping straight to alien intervention, maybe we just need to dig a little deeper into history, archaeology, all that good stuff.
Speaking of history, can we rewind a bit?
Yeah.
The whole ancient astronaut theory, it's not exactly ancient itself, is it?
Definitely not. The Wikipedia article traces it back to the mid-20th century, specifically a guy named Erich von Däniken.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he write Chariots of the Gods? I feel like I had to read excerpts from that book in, like, every history class I ever took.
That's the one. Published in 1968, and it really took off. Von Däniken, he had this knack for taking ancient texts, archaeological sites, and interpreting them in this really, well, imaginative way.
Imaginative is a good word for it. Wasn't he the one who said those giant Nazca lines in Peru, the ones you can only really see from the air? Weren't he the one who said those were landing strips for alien spacecraft?
That was definitely one of his more popular theories. He also suggested ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs were hiding depictions of, like, helicopters and submarines and stuff.
Okay, see, now that's just crazy talk. Everyone knows the Egyptians were all about chariots and pyramids, not helicopters. So,
Yeah.
Was von Däniken just making stuff up? Was he like the ancient astronaut equivalent of a conspiracy theorist?
That's a bit harsh. Von Däniken, he truly believed what he was writing, and he presented his arguments in a way that really resonated with a lot of people. But you're right, his interpretations weren't exactly grounded in rigorous academic research.
So, no actual evidence to back up his claims.
Let's just say he had a tendency to interpret things in a way that fit his theories, rather than letting the evidence lead him to a conclusion. And as for the Nazca lines, archaeologists now believe those were most likely ceremonial pathways, or maybe related to astronomy.
So more about earthly rituals and stargazing than interstellar travel. Bummer. But okay, so if von Däniken wasn't exactly the most reliable source, why did his ideas get so popular? Was it just a case of good timing?
Timing definitely played a role. Remember, the 1960s, it was a time of huge technological leaps, especially in space exploration. The space race was in full swing, the Cold War was happening. People were both terrified and fascinated by the idea of what else might be out there, you know?
So like the more we learned about the universe, the more we started projecting our own hopes and fears onto it.
Exactly. And the idea of ancient astronauts, it tapped into that sense of wonder and possibility. It provided this really compelling narrative, this idea that we weren't alone, that maybe, just maybe, someone had been here before, guiding us along the way.
I get it, I get it. A little cosmic hand-holding never hurt anyone, right? But speaking of compelling narratives, the Wikipedia article also gets into how ancient astronaut buffs interpret religious texts, which is a whole other can of worms.
Oh, yeah. And there's one example in particular that gets brought up a lot. The story of Ezekiel's wheel.
Ezekiel's wheel. Okay, now that one rings a bell. That's the prophet in the Bible, right? The one with the crazy vision of a fiery chariot with all those wheels and eyes.
That's the one. Pretty wild, right?
Wild doesn't even begin to cover it. But how does that tie into ancient astronauts? I mean, it's a pretty fantastical story, even by biblical standards.
Well, ancient astronaut proponents, they often point to that story as evidence of a UFO encounter. I mean, think about it. Wheels within wheels. Sounds like advanced technology, right? And the eyes. Maybe some kind of surveillance system. At least that's how the theory goes.
Okay, I can see how someone might interpret it that way if they were already, looking for evidence of aliens. But come on, isn't it more likely that the guy was just having a really vivid dream or something?
Well, it's important to remember that ancient people, they didn't always have the same way of explaining things as we do now. They often used metaphors, symbolism, especially when it came to talking about religious experiences.
Right, like trying to describe something they'd never seen before, something completely outside their understanding. They had to use whatever imagery they could to make sense of it.
Precisely.
Okay. So what you're saying is maybe we shouldn't take every word of ancient texts literally.
That's a good rule of thumb for, well, pretty much anything, right?
True enough.
Yeah.
But then how do we separate the fact from the fiction? How do we know what to believe when it comes to these ancient mysteries?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I don't think there's any one right answer. But I do think that approaching these topics with an open mind, a healthy dose of skepticism, and a willingness to consider different perspectives, that's a good place to start.
That's a good point. It's like we can appreciate the wonder and the mystery without necessarily taking everything at face value.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's the exploration, the questioning, that's what really matters.
Well said. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere, folks, because when we come back, we're going to flip the script. What if WE were the ancient civilization and future historians were trying to make sense of our world? So we're back, and let's be honest, we've been throwing around some pretty wild ideas about ancient astronauts and whatnot. But now I want to turn the tables a bit. Let's imagine for a second that we're the ancient civilization. Thousands of years in the future, some intrepid archaeologist is digging around in what used to be our backyard. What kind of crazy stuff are they going to come up with about us?
Oh, man, now there's a thought. I mean, can you imagine trying to explain the internet to someone who's never even seen a light bulb?
Or a smartphone. Like, yeah, this little slab of glass is how we communicated, consumed entertainment, stalked our exes. It'd be absolute gibberish to them.
Right. They'd probably think our phones were some kind of advanced communication device used to summon interdimensional beings or something.
Oh, totally. Or those fitness trackers everyone's obsessed with. Future archaeologists are going to be like, yes, the ancients were clearly obsessed with monitoring their vital energies with these mystical wristbands.
Laughing. And don't even get me started on social media. Imagine trying to explain the concept of likes and followers to someone who's never even seen a printed book.
They think we were worshiping these digital deities who demanded constant offerings of pictures of our food and cats.
It's amazing, isn't it? How the things we take for granted, the everyday objects and ideas we barely even think about, could be interpreted in such wildly different ways by someone looking back from the future.
It really makes you realize that the line between history and myth, it's a lot blurrier than we might think. We might even be living in the middle of someone else's ancient astronaut theory right now.
And that's the beauty of exploring these topics, isn't it? It's a reminder that there's always more to learn, more to discover, and that even the things we think we know can be full of surprises.
Absolutely. Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I want to thank you for joining us on this wild ride through the world of ancient astronauts, conspiracy theories, and the enduring power of human imagination.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to geek out about history and archaeology, even the more, shall we say, unconventional aspects.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to finally uncover the truth behind those ancient mysteries. Until next time.